Hello, everybody, and welcome to Beyond Compatibility, the podcast where we explore what makes relationships truly work. I am Lucas, and here we talk about love, connections, and what keeps them strong. Whether you're single, in a relationship, or just curious about the dynamics of compatibility, there is something here for you. In today's episode, you'll hear from Mathias, a life and dating coach who specializes in helping men navigate the early stages of dating. Mathias shares insights on why men often overthink and struggle with subtle cues in dating, and he provides practical advice for men seeking meaningful connections. He also talks about the challenges that men face in online dating and how they can build up this confidence to approach women in real life without overthinking or relying on scripts. Whether you're looking to better understand the dating landscape or seeking advice to improve your interactions, this conversation is packed with valuable takeaways. You'll definitely love it. So welcome, Mathias.
Welcome, Lucas. Nice to meet you in person.
I'm very excited about this conversation and with where this is going to lead us. For those who are listening to us but may not know you, what do you do professionally?
I'm a dating coach. I'm coming originally from life coaching and specialized into dating and relationships. And I mostly help guys with the first steps of dating. So guys, I'm focused on men. And I also have clients who come with me and are already in a relationship. But most of my work is surrounded finding a partner, getting more proficient into the single early steps of dating.
So you are helping men in the dating process, right?
Exactly. It's I'm also open to more female clients, but my business is still fairly young, and my marketing is focused around men, and therefore I have mainly male clients. Exactly.
Okay, that's very interesting. Why there is room for this proposal in the market? Why men need support in dating?
There are several reasons, I would think. In the end, it's easier, simply said, it's easier for women to understand clues in dating, to read the signs, to read body language, to understand subtle messages if someone is not very direct. But with men, we tend to be more rational. And for us, it's kind of to get to the same level, to get to the understanding. If a woman, for example, says, oh, I'm busy this week, but yeah, we can maybe do it next week. For the guy, it's, oh yeah, next week. So she still wants to see me. But women would maybe already understand, this is a nice excuse. This is a nice way of, sorry, I don't want to date you.
Now, I understand that we need to learn or to get exposure to these subtleties in the dating process, right?
I would also say so. But at the same time, I don't want to sound like I believe that 90% of men have trouble in dating and women 10%. No, I think there are struggles on both sides. For me, it's just more like I understand men better because I am one. And like I already said, I think there's more to learn for men in the end.
No, I understand 100%. You mentioned that you understand that men better because you are a man. Mm-hmm. How is your story? How did you get to dating coach in your life?
Mm-hmm. I worked in media for over a decade and I studied for it and everything and I liked it. It was never like, I want to change. But I took some time out in between and did some soul searching to find out, do I want to continue to do this? Which felt fine, but I wanted to check in the middle of, or after the first third of my work life, is this what I want to do continually? Then I had a life coach for half a year.
Okay.
And then it turned out, after we looked into my purpose and everything, that I want to do something similar. And then I did the life coaching training, the most comprehensive I could find in Germany, for 13 months. And as part of this, we already looked into how can we turn this into a business. And there was the moment when I had to decide, what do I specialize within life? You still have to specialize as a life coach, so people know you have the most expertise there. And then kind of an intuitive coaching session with a friend, it turned out that this is my topic. And then I stuck with it for 2 and 3 months to see if it still feels right. And it felt great. And since then, I always stuck to dating.
Wow. I imagine that you seen several men or several customers, and you started to see what are the common problems that they have. What is this common profile? What the profile of men that come to you to get advice or to get coaching?
The main thing that my clients usually have in common, and I don't know if this is in general what men have that struggle with dating or it's just what I attract. For me, it's the overthinkers.
Overthinkers.
Maybe men tend to overthink dating in general. As I said, men are more rational than women. They live their life more through their head. But I also really seem to attract that because I'm also an overthinker. And I was always too much in my head instead of just going with the flow. But you can also use this overthinker talent to understand dating better in theory first, to let it go then a little bit. And I'm doing coachings for free, group coachings to help people that might not want to hire a coach, or also, of course, to find clients. And there I have a lot of guys where in the first 10, 15 minutes of coaching them, I'm directly asking, are you an overthinker? Because most of them, I can spot this early on, are, and then we can focus more on this issue.
Okay, so we'll get into the overthinking in a bit, but first I wanted to ask you, for the men that actually are struggling in dating and they are thinking in contacting a dating coach, what the process looks like from their end to work with you?
How they find me, for example, or
no? How once they find you, what they do is
I understand.
It's like a course, a coaching session.
I offer a free call first.
Free call. Okay, I understand.
So clients who come to me through Meetup, through my events, they already know me through the event. I might have coached them 20 minutes in the free coaching session in front of the group technically, or they listened while I coached another gentleman. So they already know me a little bit, and there I offer this free call. But it might also be that someone Googles dating coach Munich and then just sees my name, and then it's on my landing page also the offer to first have a free call, non-binding, no payment. And so then we first have a call maybe up to 30 minutes where we discuss the problem maybe deeper, or if the potential client has any questions to decide if I'm the right for the job, then we also discuss these. But usually it's more an intuitive thing. It's just getting to know each other. I think it's a lot about trust. It's for the person to see, is this someone I want to open up with my problem, or let's call it challenge? And then it turns usually into a first paid session.
Okay, you mentioned the concept of trust. What does it mean actually that the customer trusts you in their coaching? Can they assess that in a call? What are the criteria people follow to select a coach?
I think on the surface, it might often feel like, okay, this guy, he says things about dating that make sense, or he seems to know a lot. But in the end, I just realized I didn't talk with so many clients how they made their decision. But I would assume it's a lot about trust. In the end, it can go very deep. If you want to help someone with this issue, at least the way I'm doing it, it's a lot of inner work. And it's not only, hey, you want to know what to say on the phone or what to text or how fast to call her again. It's also checking the beliefs of the client, for example, that he thinks, I cannot do this. But in the end, this one thing might be the one that makes him successful. But therefore, you might go deep, what my clients think about themselves and so on. And if they sense that early on, they might want to see, is this someone I want to go through this process with?
I understand. And do the customers here belong to a particular age group or location, or?
I'm focusing mostly, or especially as a start of a business, it's great to have a target group, of course. And there I was setting like male, early 30s, but it's very wide for me at the moment. It can be someone in his early 20s, but I also have clients in their 50s who were in a relationship, maybe even had a family already, and then they're single again and they want to go back into the saddle.
Okay, that's very interesting. We have this two perspective, early 20s, and also people that, or men that actually are in the dating market again after a while. You know, like is it very different experience in both, right?
I would say it's not that different. I might have been surprised myself, but the struggles are often the same. Someone might ask himself in his 20s, can I just walk over to a girl and approach her? But even a client in his 50s who was has a pickup background, who was in the pickup scene, and you would think, okay, he did that maybe for a while, but it's still the same thing. Maybe it's still like, am I allowing myself? Is that okay? And needs the same support. It's not as different as I thought.
Okay, I understand. What are the challenges that men are facing in the dating process, independently of the groups?
I would just say a lot of men waste too much time in online dating.
Online dating,
Yeah,
Tinder, Bumble.
Exactly.
Why they're wasting so much time in online dating?
It's also part of my marketing. Like I might have a Google ad that says, "Are you tired of online dating?" Because I'm focusing on meeting a prospective partner in real life. But I have a lot of clients who come to me and actually say, "Yeah, I tried online dating, but it doesn't really work for me. We meet, and then she's different than I expected, or it's too much effort." And
yeah, that's true. Like, one of the things I recently checked is that Tinder, for example, reported in the last 7 quarters a decline in pay users, and pay users in dating apps are mostly men. And at the same time, in Bumble, that in 2021, it had a market valuation of 13 billion, and now it is 1 billion, 2024. So there is a general feeling that dating apps are not working, specifically for men. Why do you think that is going on?
I usually say to this that, my life coach actually told me this. When I did the life coaching, I was single and I was looking, and then I think I told her about Tinder, and she said to me, "Matthias, the girl that you are looking for, you won't find on Tinder." Coaching is usually not that direct. You help the client to make his own decisions, but she knew me for a while. She was very direct, and it's kind of also my experience. If you look for something long term, and it's you look for someone special, let's say, yeah, you are a guy and you look for a good looking woman who is balanced, who has a great character, maybe a social butterfly, charming. This lady, why would she go on online dating? It might happen because maybe guys are too timid to approach her. But if she has a social life, maybe she has a job where she meets a lot of people and she's just amazing, men are drawn to her, why would she use online dating? So these women, in my experience, you have to find in everyday life, even maybe in the supermarket or in the metro.
Where can we find women that are not in online dating? What are the common scenarios in which men can approach a woman?
Technically everywhere. That's the part where the overthinking starts. It's like,
I'm starting overthinking myself right now.
As I said, I'm also coming from overthinking, so I could never judge. And yeah, of course, and we men, we try to see this as a project. We're like, where is this one location in the city I just have to go to, and there are all these amazing single women, and I have to use this one line, and then the thing is done. Technically, it's more about understanding. You're holding yourself back by thinking it has to be a certain time at a certain place. If you hire me, I'll try to encourage you to just go through your life, leave your apartment often enough, but just go through life. And whenever a chance opens up, approach her. Maybe as a start to learn that approaching thing, it's good maybe to use moments where it's easier, like where she's not in a group, for example, or not a loud club. I always recommend something. So this is individual. I would recommend something to do something that you like, but let's say you like art. Then I'd say go to a museum, because there people have more time. It's not like rush hour Wednesday where people run around, and you have something in common. And if she's on her own on a Sunday afternoon in a museum, it's more likely that she's single, so it's less likely you get rejected. But this is only for the start. Long term, I would say it doesn't matter. Ideally, you get to the point where you don't care about the situation. How fit are you at the day? How well do you look? And you just go for it. But for the start, I would try to take small measured steps.
I understand. I understand 100%. And what are the things that we men are getting wrong about women? What are the misconceptions about dating that we have that we think, like this dating is like this, but it's actually completely different? What are the things we are getting wrong?
Mm-hmm. I think we men, we see we have our filter. I mean, everyone in life has his own filter, sees the world through your past, your experiences have a filter. But usually we project things. We men are more visual. Especially in the beginning, we are more focused on the looks. So I think a lot of us assume that women are the same. So men work out and they go to the hairdresser and try to look perfect and everything because we are focused on looks. But women are not so much focused on looks. They are more focused on behavior.
Okay, so when you mean filter, when you say about filters, you mean that we are filtering women that are not attractive to us physically?
Sorry, no, I mean more. We see the life in the way we want to see it.
Oh, okay.
We see that we are attracted by looks, so we assume women are the same. We are rational, and women are more intuitive, more living life through more through their emotions. And we just assume, okay, but we are rational, and we can have a discussion where we are like, hey, I bring these arguments, and then you understand me. But it's not men and women, masculinity, femininity. It's very different, and usually we don't see that. And I would think that's the main challenge at the moment.
So the main challenge, if I'm hearing correctly, is that men, we are not understanding how women communicate or how women operate. What are the key differences? Like, as you mentioned, men are more rational, women are more intuitive, or they talk feelings, we talk thoughts, facts. Downstream to that, what are the consequences of this?
Yeah, as one consequence is that we focus on, a lot of men focus on their looks and never ask actually what are women attracted to and how can I maybe, if I already have these traits, how can I use them more? How can I just leave out some unattractive traits that I also was only portraying because I thought it's attractive? I think in general, especially if you say, I want to learn this, I want to look into this, then most people don't forget that it's about first understanding what is attractive. What is attraction? Instead of just starting, okay, I think I need 3 lines, and when I have these 3 lines, then I can approach women. But it's more what is really interesting for the other gender.
And what is attractive to women? This is the natural follow-up question.
Of course, makes sense. Yeah. So when I said it's behavior, then it's the most important behavior and attraction is still confidence.
Confidence.
I would also call it strength. Like if you can have, if you know who you are, and if you be honest, if you go directly for what you want, you don't use any excuses, things like this. Or if she teases you a little bit, you don't get intimidated easily. It's things like this, but also being able to take responsibility and be charming, for example.
Okay, so it's a big pack of things.
I don't think it's that complicated. I would say these are just the 3 main things. And when you see it, confidence, if I would say confidence is enough, then you could think, hey, then I could just be an asshole. I could just be a rude guy, because that would be confident. But that would be annoying in a date if you put her down constantly, or if you're too full of yourself and you never ask her a question. So you have to balance these out with being charming and being able to flirt and being able to have a good conversation. But I wouldn't say it's that complicated.
Okay, so you mentioned these things about listening, right? In the previous guest that was in this podcast, one of the things that she was specializing on was in active listening. How important do you think it is? You mentioned that it is, but how important do you think it is to listen to your date as a man?
I think it's very important. Women want to see that you're not only interested in their body and looks, they want to see that you're interested in them as a person. And if you don't ask any questions, or you ask questions, but you learn from some not so professional dating coach that you should ask questions and that will get you where you want, that way you will get laid. But she would ask, she would later, I hope it's okay to be so direct in your
perfectly fine.
podcast. If she would realize this is just a strategy that you're doing, but she asks you little things that she mentioned earlier or she mentioned in the last date and you don't even remember a part of it, then she would know that you're not really interested in her and that you're just portraying something. I'm always trying to teach my clients not to act or anything, to really understand that it's important to be on that it's important for you to understand the person, to be really interested in the other person fully and to respect her and everything, and to develop these traits that are attractive and not just learning, I should be confident, so I fake it in a way. I hold up the acting for the 2 hours of the date. So if you actually develop this, it's way better.
How can I develop my confidence?
On the one hand, I would say challenging yourself.
Challenging myself.
Yeah, go in more situations where you have to be confident, and it doesn't have to be related to dating. It could start with your job, or just go to, if it's very hard for you in the beginning, if you're introverted, you could just start by asking people, using people's names more often, or ask your colleagues, how are they today? Things like this. And I would say the most important thing is to understand that, I call it that you have an inner watchdog in your mind, that your mind always wants to keep you safe.
Okay.
It's like coming from evolution. Stop me if I'm explaining too widely, but
No, it's perfect.
it's evolution. Like your mind never wanted you to go into that valley where there's a saber-toothed tiger, or you don't know if there is one, or there are some berries and you don't know the berries and you shouldn't eat them because they could be poisonous. And this is still very deeply ingrained in our mind and our nervous system, that we always say, no, we don't know this, don't do this, don't go out of your comfort zone. But your mind also has the task, the function to help you grow. So in these moments where your mind is like, you don't know her, you don't know if the guy 2 meters left is her boyfriend, don't do it. You have to start to recognize this, let it go, and maybe be thankful for it, because it only wants to keep you safe, but also be like, hey, but I also want to grow. And then ignore this kind of and go over anyway.
Yeah, I believe that the ancestors we had that were not cautious, they didn't reproduce. So
Makes
all
sense.
our ancestors were cautious, and that's why we are here, and that's why we have this caution trait, right? So I understand that confidence is something that it takes a lot to develop, and it's not necessarily how we all the lines that we know, the pickup lines that we know, and that draws me to an idea that we have two things: the product and the marketing. Let's say, so how we build ourselves, how confident we are, and how proud we are from our lives, and then how we project that. How much of the success we get in the dating world comes from building up your life, and how much comes from knowing how to project it outside, how to market yourself out there?
Good question. I'm not sure if I can say a percentage, but yeah, there are different scenarios. You might already be a great guy, but you don't see it that way. You don't have this confidence, this self-esteem, and you cannot portray it. So for this person, it would be more important to just learn how to let it out, how to show it, and not hold yourself back by looking maybe into when did you develop these kind of beliefs. But if you're super outgoing and you can tell stories and can be the center of attention, but sorry, you are not able to take responsibility, for example, or you're all doing all of this because you're insecure, you're not confident, you're not balanced, you don't know who you are, and you're afraid of rejection, for example, then it would be more important to build the inner strength first. Maybe 50-50. Like 50-50. If you cannot portray it, if she cannot see it, then it's not worth anything. But if you don't have anything to show, also bad.
Yeah, coming back to this fear of rejection that I find it very interesting. I have some data from Date Psych, that is a sociologist that focus on mating problems. And I have some numbers, and I would like to know your opinion about them. So this was in 2023, but 55% of single men in between 18 and 30 didn't approach a woman in the last year. 77% of women say that they wished to be approached more. 50% of men, 86% of women say men should make the first move. And 50% of men report not wanting to approach a woman for fear of being seen as creepy or predatory. It seems that women want to get approached more, but men are concerned to be seen as creepy. Why this is wrong? What are we getting wrong? What is this fear of rejection that we have? Where is it coming from?
I would say a lot of it is still the overthinking, especially the creepy part. And I get this a lot from my clients as well. And I think I was the same. Hey, can I really do this? And there are people standing around looking. And but in the end, but it's still overthinking. It's thinking about it too much. But it's exactly what the feedback that I have, the same process I went through maybe as well. And including the thing with women still want to make the guy to make the first move. I think 200, 300 years back, there was this this habit maybe of women dropping their white handkerchief so the guy would have an excuse, because already then it was maybe hard or even harder to just walk over. It was maybe considered to be rude. But then you had this little thing with the excuse, but men still wait for a smile or some form of invitation. But I think in the end, it's a bit sad. Women really want this. Yeah, I also get this from female clients and friends and everything, that women would also like to be approached in real life. When I started this, when I really wanted to learn to be able to go over to any woman that I find interesting, especially when I was direct and just saying, I find you very attractive, then I got the feedback of, yeah, nice. Maybe they first said they have a boyfriend, but they were still saying, great, if I would be single, I would do it like you, approaching people in real life and keep on doing what you're doing. You will find the right girl. They were always excited that you're able to do this. So yes, women are looking for it. Yes, they want the man to make the first move. That's the part of where I said taking responsibility. And you can show this immediately by walking over and not hiding behind an online dating profile. So exactly, that's also what it is. But the part of, I cannot just walk over. This is overthinking, and it's social conditioning also. Maybe you have to achieve something before you can just walk over and say, I'm interested in you. But that's all, it's only in here. And sorry, most of it is bullshit.
Yeah, but I mean, I understand it's an incentive as well. You know, like if you know that women want to be approached more, it's an incentive to approach more women because you understand that they are interested in that. Which would be a good way to approach a woman, a cold approach in the street?
It's a bit of a type thing. It depends on you. I have clients who are amazing if they can use something in the situation, like just pointing something out or something about her. But in the end, you don't need an excuse. You can always walk over. Like all this social conditioning, overthinking, it leads to, we think we have to use a special line or whatever. But if you're interested in her, it's the most natural thing. It's totally fine. It's your birthright to have a special lady in your life. So you can just walk over and find out if she's interested in exchanging contacts as a first step. So you could just walk over and say, hi, how are you? I usually, my main line before I found the girl that I turned into my current relationship, I would say most of the time, I just recognized you. Can I ask your name? It was usually like explaining what I'm doing, but not using an excuse. Like excuses are not good. Like, can you please tell me what time it is or what way I can go to the zoo? It's great to be honest, but it doesn't have to be complicated. And confidence, we said, is number one. And you could also immediately show that your confidence by honestly saying when you find her very attractive. You could walk over and say, sorry, I just had to stop you. I find you super beautiful, very attractive, whatever goes through your mind, which is, the most honest thing you can do.
I understand. So let's think it through the other lens. What are the don'ts? What are the things we shouldn't do when approaching a woman in the street or in the museum or wherever?
As I said already, you should not use any excuses, anything that's too timid, too careful. But of course, you always have to be respectful. Women love to be approached, but there are also women who are very careful towards men in general, because by the age of 25, 30, all of them made some bad experiences with stalkers or men who were not able to accept a no. Like I heard on a date, I heard the story that a guy was walking through a park. It was the end of the day. It already started to get dark, and the guy was like saying something to her, approaching her, and she didn't feel comfortable. So she just continued walking without even looking at him. And he was yelling after her, "I'm talking to you. I'm talking to you." So things like this are an absolute no-go, of course.
Okay.
So unfortunately, I heard a lot of stories that where guys are not able to accept a no. It's bad for the ego if the girl says no. But of course, a girl that you never met, she doesn't owe you anything. Even a girl that goes with you on 3 dates, she doesn't owe you anything. If she says, "I don't want to continue, I don't want to be approached," it's her decision. So the most important thing is respect, of course.
Respect her decision. And but you mentioned this stalking behavior, this not accepting a no. And this comes in the cloud in my head of what a creepy behavior is. But I'm going to ask you, what actually is a creep? What is creepy behavior?
Okay, I'm hopefully not an expert in there, because I never did creepy approaches. I think everything that scares women. I also have to admit, I had to learn, I had to fully understand through reading books how careful women are, how much they are from the start in a conversation are not usually rejecting you into your face. They never want to have a situation where the guy could become aggressive or something. So everything where she would feel threatened, she wouldn't feel comfortable.
Okay, every behavior that could make her feel uncomfortable.
Okay, sorry, I just think of something. It can be simple stuff like you should never approach a woman from behind. If you see a woman that you like and she goes on an escalator and you go behind her, you should never tap on her shoulder or something. That's immediately, it's also evolution still. It's already feels uncomfortable, and you start the conversation to getting to know each other in a very bad way. It's better to wait, for example, there until you're off the escalator, walk around her and approach her from the front, or at least go to the side, maybe wave first. It's also evolution. It's always great to show your hands. It's not only in dating, it's a signal of, hey, no weapon. And if you hide your hands, it's also it makes other people feel uncomfortable. So if you can always like, "Hey, hi, I wanted to stop you," or "Can you please take your headphones off?" Things like this are good.
Okay. So, and what if after an approach to a woman, she says, "I'm sorry, I have a boyfriend." How do you get out of that situation?
I usually tried not to turn around immediately. Maybe it was just a little bit of pride, but for me it was maybe asking her if the boyfriend makes her laugh. Something like this. But usually women didn't expect that. They were like puzzled. So they most guys, I think, when she says they turn around, and I'm more on the side of this is a no, and you should accept that. There are some dating advice, some maybe pickup people who say, "No, that's maybe just a test and you should continue." But for me, that's desperate. If she says she has a boyfriend, often it's not even the reason. It's not the truth. It's just an excuse. But that's perfectly fine. As I said, women will try not to say, "No, sorry, I don't like your face," or "You're too." I once approached a younger woman who told me I'm too old for her.
Okay.
That was here in Leipzig. Women seem to be more honest here, and that's okay. But usually they try to avoid this, and then they just use this excuse, which is fine. It's a direct way of saying no. Then I would just maybe say one light sentence. One, I asked a girl, does he make you laugh? And she was like, "Yeah, of course. Otherwise I would not be together with him, right?" And then I also knew she's together with the right guy, and it was even easier to let it go. But it's not so important how the guy gets out of the situation. At this moment, she already tries to get out of the situation.
Okay, it's very, very, very interesting that what you mentioned, maybe she's using this as an excuse, but still it's a no, like she wants to render this no to you. And if you're thinking in the opposite direction, like how can women help men more to be approached? So what could we say to women so they make it easier for men?
That's a tough one. Technically, on the one hand, I would say they could make it easier. They could drop something. They could drop the handkerchief, or they could drop something in the supermarket, or they could smile at the guy. But at the same time, a great guy doesn't need these invitations. And the best guy you can find would be one who doesn't care if you smile at him or not. Women love guys who understand attraction, who understand how the process works, what women are attracted to, and those guys understand that it doesn't mean anything if she's not looking at you or if she looks grumpy. A lot of women look grumpy because they get approached in timid ways or in rude ways. And this is a safety mechanism of them. But they still love it if a guy can be honest, respectful, charming, and therefore you only know if she's interested after you walked over. But yeah, if you like a guy as a girl and you don't know if he would approach, then you could give him an invitation. You could smile at him, or use for women, it's way more attractive to use excuses. That's still considered attractive. It's kind of being more softer. But for men, it's just it's evolution. And I never made this stuff up. It's just what I learned. I'm just teaching how it is. So it's soft and weak for men, but it's okay for women. And if you would be like, sorry, can you please help me to find this, or what you have in your basket at the supermarket, what you have in your basket, the cheese, could you please try to point me in the right direction? Where can I find this? You could start the conversation. You could give him an invitation and make it easier for him.
Okay, I understand. Once we get through this first phase of approaching women and we are starting to date a woman, what are the things as a man we need to pay attention to know if this is the right partner for us?
It's very individual. I would say, everyone should look for a partner who is balanced and centered, for example, and you really have to be attracted to her. If you have to think about, do I like her enough? Do I like her humor? Then I would say no. If it's about a relationship, if you want to be exclusive with someone, it should be someone special. But what's special for you, what's important for you, most guys never think about this. I encourage my clients, especially before even going out, I encourage them to make a top 10 list of traits that you want to see in the girl. So you should define this once, you should have a vision, but I would not be so cocky to say it's this and this and this. You have to find that for yourself. For me, it was like I did this top 10 list. Then I met a girl who was kind of all these 10 things, but I was still not attracted. And then I was asking myself, why is that? And I realized because it was because she didn't have her life in order. She was not balanced. And I wanted someone who's grounded and doesn't cause any drama or whatever. And then I put this on my list. And for some reason, I never met a girl like this. I never went on a date again with a girl that was not centered and balanced. And so, but it's maybe okay to go through this process, write things down, then start the dating process. And if you see it's not exactly, you thought you are attracted to this, but it turns out differently, then you adapt the list. And at some point, life sends you exactly the girl you wrote down there, and were the right traits, and you will know.
I understand 100%. And would like to dive deeper into this because you mentioned that at the beginning that men, we are attracted to the physical appearance of a woman. How can we dig deeper into our attraction and understand what we truly want? You mentioned the top 10 things to find in a woman. That I think it's a very interesting framework. But is there something else that we should consider? What kind of questions should we ask ourselves about our own attraction?
Good question. I think nothing beats experience. You should just go out there, maybe see what you are attracted to, why you just like to talk to some people more often than others, maybe some female colleagues more than others, and then write these traits down. But you should also consider, I think some guys, there's the risk that they are like, I'm just looking for the beautiful woman, just for the looks. And they're immediately attracted and sorry, they want to have intercourse with her. But most guys who are not experienced forget it's still some time to get there. Even if she's very attracted to you, there might be 1 or 2 dates before this happens. This means we spend 10 hours together And if I cannot have an inspiring conversation, why would I want to waste so much time just, sorry, to get late? So I would also say, don't only look for superficial thing. Don't only look for one thing. What do you need in order to enjoy the first 10 hours together with this person?
What does it mean that men we want to, maybe there is an we want to get late, you know, like why men want to get late and women this is not part of their conversation, at least at the beginning?
I would say it's as important for women as it is for men, but they can, I don't want to say control it better, but it's maybe the best word. Women are not so controlled by this urge. They can say, okay, I first want to get to know the guy. Maybe it's also the safety thing that it's like before, even if it's just a one night stand, the woman needs certain traits in a man to trust him enough to not get into a situation where she might feel threatened.
What are those traits?
That's why I'm not only saying confidence. I'm also calling it strength. Like if she's teasing him, usually it can be very playful, can be flirting. If there is a moment where she's teasing him on his behavior, on his looks, on something that looks a little bit like a weakness. And if he is laughing it off, if he can make fun of himself, laugh about himself, make jokes about his own shortcomings, and just show that he's not connected to what the outcome of the date, for example, is, or just the first 10 minutes maybe. That's already showing if she would say no, he would be able to accept that. So that's what all women do. Most of them are not aware of this, but these little tests, they are there from the start. And if the guy passes these tests, if he's not, if he would show a weakness, if he's easily thrown off his balance, then she would exploit of them more.
Do they do this consciously? So is there a conversation that is going on in between women I have no access to, where they discuss how to test men, or?
Absolutely not. I tease a lot about this with my girlfriend, and I was like, yeah, I know, this is just a test. And then she's like, no, I would never test. This was not a test. Women are not aware of it, and women don't like to hear it. Women are nice, compassionate people, so they don't want to be called out as they test a guy. And it's not conscious, no. But it's still, and it's a great thing for them to do. It's great to test subtle, in a way, can I trust this guy? Do I want to be alone in a room with this guy? Do I want to follow him to his apartment? It's a very good thing to do that, but most women are not aware of it, and they don't even want to hear that it's the case, because it doesn't sound nice, but it's the most clever thing you can do.
Yeah, I understand 100%. So in general, I see that we have men and women, we have different dynamics. I can say that men, we don't have... Do we have those tests? I'm not conscious aware of them. I'm going to ask you, but at least in my group of friends, we are very direct. You know, like I don't think we do tests. We do test women on their confidence or their character.
No, not so much. Yeah, you could maybe. Sometimes we guys are so rational that we want to have like a checklist, and we're looking for a girlfriend. So we check on the first date, is this girlfriend material? And then we ask what you're looking for and things like this. But I wouldn't call this a test, and that's also not very clever. Especially the beginning should always be lighthearted, relaxed, flirty, and it should never be like, hey, I'm trying to reach a certain goal here, and I don't want to waste my time, so I'm checking early on if you are the right thing. It will only be able to turn out as the right thing if you are relaxed, and I don't think we do this so much. Yeah.
Well, I understand. 100%. I heard, and I've in social media, that one thing that is attractive from men is their emotional intelligence. How does this plays out, for example, when we are talking about vulnerability or in the dating process? Can we show ourselves vulnerable in the first date, for example? How does it work?
From an attraction perspective, I would say it's great to show some vulnerability, but you have to do it in a certain way. It would be too much if you go to the first date and you put out all your baggage, you talk about sad stuff, past relationships. You shouldn't do that in the beginning. It's too early. At some point, you can talk about these things, but you just want to get to know each other, and it should be, as I said, lightly. So it's not about that. Sorry, what was your question? How can I explain it a bit better, maybe?
No. The question.
Sorry. Yeah, I lost my thought. Now I have it again. For example, if you walk over and even if you're just saying, I find you very attractive, this makes you vulnerable. Or if you would walk over and make a joke where you know she might find that joke, that your humor corny, geeky in some way. But if you go over and you just want to have a good time and you are you might know this could go wrong because of my humor. But if you say, this is me, this is how I want to approach a girl. And if she cannot take that, it's okay. Then it's also vulnerability because you say, I show myself the way I am. And if she says no, then this is very attractive because in the end, that's also confident. If you would walk over and you use an excuse and you don't show that you're interested from the start, then you don't make yourself vulnerable, but it's also not that attractive.
I understand 100%. In fact, I was talking about this with my girlfriend this morning, that women sometimes don't appreciate the vulnerability of a man approaching them because as they usually are not the ones approaching the guy, they lose perspective about this. But when you approach a girl or you're taking a risk, you're taking a risk of being rejected or being ridiculized, or saying something wrong, and that's is something that sometimes goes unseen. Because from what I heard, it's kind of, all these men, they are not approaching us correctly. They are sometimes very pushy, sometimes not very pushy. But it takes a lot of effort, to make the first move. So it's very interesting because I didn't connect this making the first move with vulnerability. And I think it nice. Is actually.
In my experience, women understand that this is a big thing for you, and they don't get approached often in a way that they really enjoy. So if you do that, for me, it usually felt like at some point, as I said, I saw it as a skill that I wanted to learn. I wanted to go on more dates. And then I just did it a lot. And the reaction, of course, there was maybe a reaction sometimes that was rude, that was not very nice, but that was maybe 1 of 70 women or, so 2 in 100 max. Most of them, as I said, are more compassionate and they understand that it's a big thing. And they are, as I said, they even encouraged me. They said, hey, continue this and great what you're doing. And I have a boyfriend, but I would also do it like you if I were you, things like this. So to me, it felt more like they understand it's a big thing and they're kind of grateful even that you take the risk.
Yeah, and I understand 100%. So if you could give only one piece of advice to men on how to improve their dating life, which advice that would be?
Ignore your overthinking mind. Go for what you want and just start to practice. It's if you would just start and be like, okay, I'm looking for a new partner and I understand it's a process. And if I make some experiences on the way, that's okay. If you would just start and say, I try new things, I try to approach women. And from time to time, you ask yourself, okay, what went well today and what was not so good? What could I change? In the end, if you would continue long enough, and it wouldn't even take so long, you would get where you want to be. It's great to have a coach who can also show you how to save some time or what's attractive, for example, or what's specifically holding you back, what your blind spots are. But in the end, it's just get going. Don't think too much about how. Just try things out and adapt from time to time. Don't always, if it doesn't work, if you always use an excuse, if you always use the line of what time it is, it would not be clever. Just go, check from time to time what could work better, and the rest will come by itself.
Okay. I want to say thank you, Mathias, because from what we discussed in the conversation and from what it's in social media and what is in the world, we are having a lot of problems about loneliness. We are having a lot of problems about relationships and men are struggling a lot, and your work helping men and coaching men on how to approach women or also how to see their lives with a different lens, because also you're a life coach. I think it's very useful. It contributes a lot to solve important problems, and I wanted to thank you for this.
Thank you for the invitation. It was my pleasure. Amazing questions, and I just laugh about to talk about this. I took some time to find my thing in life, and every chance that I can talk about it and help people, especially men, to just go out there and go for what they want. I'm also very grateful. Thank you.
That's really right. How people can know more about you? How can they get in touch with you?
Best would be my website, matthiasrabe.com. You can also type in maybe dating coach Munich. I'm also easy to find there. Yeah.
Okay, we'll put the links in the description of the episode.
That would also be great.
Thank you very much.
Thank you, Lucas.
And also thanks to you for listening to Beyond Compatibility. I really hope this episode gave you new insights to deepen your connections and reflect on what truly matters in your relationships. If you found value in today's conversation, please consider sharing it and subscribing so you never miss an episode. Until next time, stay curious, stay connected, and keep exploring what makes us truly compatible, changing the way we relate one conversation at a time.